I have some awesome tips on how to improve your digital illustrations and also some workflow pointers that you don't want to miss. And so we're going to be taking this vector path drawing in Illustrator and we're going to turn it into something interesting and visually appealing. So the first step is to choose some colors that you want to work with, and then open up the swatches panel, and with the color selected, we're going to make some swatches. I simply made these 3 rectangles with the rectangle tool, but if you come and click the top right fly down menu in the swatches panel, we're then going to create a new swatch group, and we want to make sure the global color is highlighted. With this highlighted, it means that we can make edits to the swatch color later, and all objects that use that color on your design will also be changed simultaneously. So when working on illustrations, it is always a great idea to label your layers and layer groups. And this is because things will inevitably get pretty busy on your illustration. Now you can access the layers window in the top drop down menu, or you can locate it like so. So when you actually draw aspects of your design, it would be wise to label them as you go. However, the most crucial aspect, I feel, is to use layer groups and label layer groups. For example, I can select all of the objects on the dinosaur's foot here by holding down Shift and then clicking. And then I can actually press Command G on a Mac or Control G on a PC to group them together. And then it's just a case of naming this group so I automatically know where all of the aspects of the foot are on my illustration. And then I can come in and arrange layers or lock layers or unlock layers for that matter. So let's make this simplistic line drawing of this dinosaur into something elevated and superior. So I have gone ahead and created the most simple steps of today's video to save time, and that is just adding some block color with my swatches. Now the dino is quite boring and it lacks personality. So let's go ahead and change that right now. Firstly, I want to change the stroke lines to be something more interesting to look at. Now to demonstrate, let's look again at the foot. The stroke here currently has standard basic lines, and that is they're the same width all the way around. But by pressing Shift and W, you can actually access the width tool. With this tool, you can click and drag areas of your vector lines and then adjust their thickness, and in doing so, this will make the design more interesting throughout. It's something that many illustrators use in Adobe Illustrator, and it just simply looks better when you have a stroke variant. So one key aspect of illustration is to have highlights and shadows. There are different ways to do this, and I've showcased on my channel before how to use masks in doing this. But today we're going to look at a different way on how to actually make a shadow or highlight. Now I'm going to select the object where I'd like to add my shadow, and I'm going to click Command or Control C to copy it. And then I want to click Command F on a Mac or Control F on a PC to paste a duplication right over the top. We can take the pen tool, which is P on your keyboard, and then we can draw a crude area that we'd like to represent as the shadow. Now it will be possible to neaten this up later, so don't worry if it doesn't look too neat. So shift click both shapes and then use the exclude option in the Pathfinder window. You can hold down the Command or Control key, which will actually turn this into a compound shape, but that's not necessary. The new shape is brought to the front of all layers, and this, guys, is a perfect instance where labeling your layers will actually come in handy. This means that you can easily arrange things and bring them to the front. However, you can also just shift click the strokes and then bring them to the front of all layers like so. To turn this shape into a shadow, you could simply change the color. However, I personally like to head into the Recolor Artwork panel and adjust the brightness value in the HSB slider menu. This easily allows us to make shadows and highlights of just one color, and that's perfect for illustrations. To demonstrate once more with the highlights, I have a shape here and I can easily sample the green color with the eyedropper tool, which is I on your keyboard, and then head into the HSB sliders once again. But this time I'm going to increase the brightness as opposed to decreasing it. There are plenty more tips coming, so let's finish off the details of my dinosaur. Now pressing A for the direct selection tool will allow you to move and edit your anchor points around your design. And I did say earlier that you don't have to worry about it being neat, and that is because we have the smooth tool that can save the day. Now this tool is usually hidden away underneath a different toolset, but I personally have dragged it onto my toolbar by itself, which you can do in the edit toolbar menu. Anyway, this tool will help a whole lot when making digital illustrations, and you can double click the toolbar in the menu to actually bring up the tolerance settings. So the illustration is coming along pretty nicely, but the finer details are what really elevates a design. So with the pen tool, I'm going to make a curved line here, but instead of using Bezier curves, I'm simply going to click 3 points like so. With the pen tool still in use, you can then hold down the Alt Option key, and then you're going to be able to curve the lines like I'm doing here. Some designers actually find this easier and more effective when trying to make curves with the pen tool. So I'm going to open up the stroke panel, and I'm going to apply a round cap to my line. And this is going to render the ends of the stroke line actually rounded as opposed to being square. So I think when working on illustrations, you probably should have this stroke window close by somewhere to easy access. So like we did earlier, I can press Shift and W for the width tool and then add some interest to this line here. But I'm not done yet. Let's press C for the scissors tool on your keyboard and then actually make 2 cuts like so, and then I'm going to remove the middle excess part of the line. Now using the width tool once more, I'm going to finish off this little section of the design, and then you can make additions like this all over your illustration, and this is going to really set off your illustration design nicely. So I have 2 levels of shadow, I have some highlights, I've added details, even some eyebrows giving some personality to the dino, but we need a couple more things. So we're going to add a drop shadow below the dinosaur, and also maybe a background focal point as well. So another tool that is useful for making quick curves is the curvature tool. The clue is in the name. So I think I'm going to lock my dinosaur down and then draw the line with the curvature tool. Again, we can neaten things up with the smooth tool and also adjust the tolerance at any time. Now you probably want to send the shadow behind the illustration itself. It's a rarity that I make something on this channel about illustrations, so I do hope you follow along and you did enjoy today's video. If you want to learn something else about Adobe Illustrator, do click a video on screen. And until next time guys, design your future today. Peace.